I have lived near the countryside for most of my life, so this close contact with nature has had a great influence on my life. In later years, along with Audrey, my wife, our love of the countryside has taken us down many avenues, one of them being our wild orchids. I first became interested in orchids in 1973, whilst holidaying with my family in Pembrokeshire. A man staying in our hotel showed me some wild orchids growing nearby, and I've had this fascination for them ever since. Orchids are beautiful complex flowers, but most people are only familiar with the large showy species which are on show in supermarkets and garden centres. Orchids are part of our countryside heritage, and many are protected. Some have even colonised our own garden. There are around 56 species of wild orchids in the United Kingdom, and we'll be looking at just a few of them as we continue our exploration of the countryside. I suppose I class myself as an amateur naturalist, and during the last 45 years I've recorded the natural world all around us on movie film and later with a video camera. Here in 1975 I filmed John Nuttall, a local keen and dedicated ornithologist who recorded the bird population in our area for several years. When our children were young, we were out in the countryside at every opportunity, exploring the wonders of nature. During the spring and summer of 1974, I made a film called Guest House, which told the story about a pair of blue tits that took up residence in a nest box on the children's bedroom window. This was followed by Young Explorers, which is now a valued and irreplaceable record of our young family discovering the many wonderful natural events which occur in our local countryside through the seasons. When Audrey and I retired, we bought a motorhome. This gave us the freedom to explore in our own time the countryside in this country and abroad. The motorhome gave us access to many areas off the beaten track that probably couldn't be accessed on a normal family holiday. On one of our many treks through the Alps, we found by sheer chance the rare lady's slipper orchid. This orchid is near to the top of the league for orchid enthusiasts. Besides walking, the bikes were also used to take us off the beaten track on the many trails which meander through the Alps. Here in the Dordogne Valley, we took to the water to explore this lovely region. Returning to my interest in orchids, as technology advances, I've been able to set up my own blog site on the internet, and up to present I've had nearly 17,000 visits from 119 countries. With the click of the mouse, I've been able to receive and pass information with people of similar interests. Another wild, unspoilt but often windy area, which is excellent for orchids, is the Outer Hebrides. Here we've enjoyed 2 holidays wandering through these remote islands. There are no paths marked on the maps, which feels strange, so you are free to wander wherever your fancy and ability can take you. On our way home from one of the Hebridean holidays, we were privileged to encounter this rare fearless dotterel, which lives almost exclusively on the high cairngorms. As we climbed higher, we were caught up in a blizzard on the Cairngorm Plateau on the first day in June. Here it can snow on every month of the year when the wind comes down from the north. Of course, orchids only grow in the spring and summertime, but in other seasons of the year there's still plenty of interest for us. One of them is following and observing the life cycle of the salmon. They swim up our local rivers to spawn in autumn and early winter. Here in the Ribble at Stainforth, the salmon leap up the falls to spawn in the higher reaches of the river, and nearer home they spawn in the river gravel and pebbles at Solar. Over the years I've enjoyed what I call the lad's day out with my friends. These walks have been led by Eric, who has a lifetime's knowledge of the high fells. The most memorable walk was the 12-mile walk from Garsdale Head to Kirby Stephen over Wildboar Fell. We climbed up through the clouds and experienced a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon.
Well, David, a view we'll never ever see again in our lives, the Brocken Spectre. It's an image of ourselves in like a halo in the mist, with the sun projecting from behind, and it's very, very rare. I've seen it only once ever before in my life.
Every spring in early April we climb Pennygent to find the purple saxifrage which grows on the 1900-foot contour on the limestone cliffs. This Arctic alpine plant manages to cling on in this wild environment. I first read about this flower in the Pennine Way Companion by Alfred Wainwright many years ago, and this is a walk we never tire of. Well, here we are on the slopes of Pennygent, the early purple saxifrage. It really is an Arctic alpine plant. We've joined Eric again on another walk seeking out some of our rarer flowers, on this occasion in Upper Teesdale in May, for a very special Arctic alpine flower.
Seeing the spring gentians here makes it really special. Normally this flower you would see in the Alps, in Switzerland and France, but that's what makes this area really special. It's an Arctic environment really, and there's loads of the gentians springing up. I guess in another week or so there'll be hundreds and hundreds just on this little embankment. Really special.
So, with all our enthusiasm and experiences of the great outdoors still vivid in our minds, let's catch up on just a few more moments on our never-ending pursuit, seeking out more wild orchids in the spring and early summer of 2013. Our search starts on the lots near Silverdale. This meadow is managed by the National Trust, and here the green-winged orchid thrives alongside the early purple orchid seen here on Arnside Knot. After 20 years of research and dedication by the staff at Kew Gardens, seed from the last lady slipper orchid in the wild in the UK has been grown and propagated. The new plants have been reintroduced to Gatebarrow Nature Reserve, along with other locations where it used to grow.
The warden here, Rob Petley-Jones, has, over the last couple of years, has really taken these cultivated specimens and really looked after them. But they are stunning, and it's wonderful to see them in such glorious surroundings as well on this limestone pavement here at Gatebarrows.
Wensleydale. This countryside takes some beating on a warm early summer's day. Here at Aysgarth, the River Yoy tumbles over the limestone strata and then flows down into the wider areas of the dale. This wildflower meadow in Lower Wensleydale is managed by the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust and is a remnant of what our meadows were like in the past. There are several species of orchids thriving here, but there's a real gem in this meadow, the burnt tip orchid. Much nearer home at Townley, this large colony of southern marsh orchids has appeared as if by magic, and down on the local industrial estate the bee orchids are managing to cling on the grassy areas surrounding the industrial units. In this large area of beech woodland, we are very lucky to find the bird's nest orchid. Spotting this orchid is very reassuring. It is a sign that you are in a very special place, because this orchid is very scarce. Knob End near Bolton stands on the confluence of the River Irwell and the River Crowle. This is a very unusual site for orchids, and they only grow here because of the alkaline waste produced from sodium carbonate that was tipped here in the mid-1800s. It has now weathered down to calcium carbonate. It has a unique flora with 8 species of orchids growing here. The natural world around us has been an important part of our lives. Nature is the closest thing we have to perfection. It has enhanced our lives, and I never cease to wonder how nature regenerates itself through the seasons. We've been lucky to enjoy just a small part of our natural world, but there are still many places to explore in our countryside, and hopefully we'll continue to observe and record it in the future seasons.